This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
With talks of an Evil Dead 5, Bruce Campbell has given us some insight into the new Evil Dead movie. But what should we expect? Let's talk about it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome to Hotline Sehwani. This is Jigsaw, and I want you guys to consider this a kickoff to some of the horror content that you'll see on my channel. When I first started the YouTube channel, I really wanted to focus on gaming and horror. I felt that I've kind of built up a lot of what I've done around gaming so far, especially with the remixes, which are great, and I love you guys for checking them out and wanting to listen to them. But now I kind of want to also build up the horror angle of this too, combining my passion of gaming, horror, music, and kind of putting it together. So guys will see a lot of horror movie discussions, horror news, some character analysis on horror movies, and potentially a horror series that I want to do on profiling horror villains, from Jason to Pennywise to Michael Myers. So let me know if that's something you guys would want to see in the comments below. But let's jump right to the topic. Evil Dead Rise will be a movie coming out in the next few years, potentially 2021, based off this whole current situation. But if you don't know what the Evil Dead is a franchise created by Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi is also the creator of the trilogy of the Spider-Man movies. The Evil Dead is a really, really great cult classic horror film that kicked off the trope of the cabin in the woods type horror. The gist of the movie is that some high school, college kids gather together to go to a cabin in the middle of the woods to party. They find a Necronomicon, which is the Book of the Dead, and they decide to read it, because who wouldn't want to read it? I'm just kidding. But they read it, and then bad things happen. Their friends start turning into these zombies / demons, or as they're called in the Evil Dead franchise, they're Deadites. So it's actually kind of interesting to see how that plays out in the Evil Dead, because they are not fully demon, but they're also kind of like a zombie at the same time. It's really interesting to how they're played out, because when they become possessed, they take on the persona of the person that they are possessing. In this movie, basically what happens in a nutshell is Bruce Campbell's character, who's Ash Williams, he has his friends there, he has his girlfriend there, he has a sister there. He ends up killing his friends, he has to kill his girlfriend, and he has to kill his sister, because they're all possessed by this force from the Necronomicon, and he doesn't get infected by it.
You bastards! Why are you torturing me like this? Why?
Evil Dead was a cult classic. It's one of the most controversial movies of the 80s for its excessive gore, violence. There was a lot of scenes in the movie that I guess caused some red flags for people. I think one of the biggest reasons why it took off really big as a franchise for Evil Dead, and then eventually Evil Dead 2, Stephen King brought it to light, saying you should see this movie, you should check it out, and the rest, as they say, is history. So kind of getting into more on Evil Dead as a franchise, Evil Dead's characters. Let's talk about Ash Williams. So Ash Williams is the main character of Evil Dead, and he's played by Bruce Campbell. And one of the things that I think is super interesting about Bruce and his commitment to this role is it's very rare that you will see a person or an actor in this sense play a character for a franchise and really hold on to that role for this long. And it's very common for actors to kind of come and go to represent characters, but the thing is that Bruce Campbell and Ash Williams are very integrated into each other in their personalities, their sense of humor, how they are, how they portray themselves. So it's very, he's definitely put himself in a role where, fans love him and they want to see him in the role. They can't imagine anyone else being that character. In the end, he is Ash Williams. He invented what he would look like in The Evil Dead. So Ash Williams isn't your Spider-Man, where there's Tobey Maguire and there's Andrew Garfield and there's Tom Holland, where kind of people come and go to fill the role. Bruce Campbell is the role.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick.
So, people really like him, and a lot of fans love him, and he always plays a very loud vocal voice in the Evil Dead community and in the horror community overall. So the last piece, I guess, of Evil Dead media, that was given to the community was Ash vs. Evil Dead, which was a really great TV show. This took place after Army of Darkness. The Army of Darkness Evil Dead movie, which follows Evil Dead 2. So Ash vs. Evil Dead really builds off of Ash's personality. Ash Williams, he's a wisecracker, he's a self-proclaimed comedian, he's flirtatious, he's anti-politically correct. So he's, kind of taking a character that's evolved from, kind of being scared and, cowardly and, concerned of what's going on to him and his friends in the first movie. Fast forward to Ash vs. Evil Dead in, the TV show. He's just like a blunt object that just kind of wants to, screw these Deadites. Let's just kill them, and I want to go to Jacksonville, Florida. That's, his motive. And it's really funny to see how the show progresses him, because, by the beginning of the season, Ash is very about himself. He's very conceited in his own mannerisms and what he wants. He will help if he needs to, but he doesn't really want to. And kind of pacing to the end of the show, you haven't seen it, skip this part, but pacing to the end of the show, he goes from a character who just really cares about himself and the jokes and whatnot, and to a character that's willing to sacrifice himself for his friends. So, that Ash vs. Evil Dead ended in 2018, and, a lot of people really love, how it was built up, and we're kind of sad to see it go. And Bruce Campbell actually, said he will retire his role as Ash Williams. So that kind of came, sad to some people, and sad to most people really in the horror community, because, he was definitely a big influence, and he was a big figurehead in horror. But that hasn't put Bruce Campbell down from being involved in the community. And, I don't blame him, because he's really loved in the community. The fans adore him, and, he deserves it. And, I'm sure he wants to stick around, because, he gets a lot of attention for the role. People love him for it, and he's a figure in the horror community. And from retiring to voicing, Ash Williams and Dead by Daylight, to filling us in on updates on the Evil Dead video game, to teasing us on Ash Williams' inclusion into Mortal Kombat. Didn't happen. NetherRealms, if you're listening, get him in the game. It would be great. But now, he's a spokesperson for the franchise, and the updates that people are getting from Evil Dead is from Bruce Campbell. He's almost he's a representative. He's a producer, of sorts. So just to kind of jump right into that, apparently the next entry in the Evil Dead franchise will be coming from Lee Cronin. He directed 2019's The Hole in the Ground. And from looking into how Lee Cronin got the director position for the movie, apparently Sam Raimi, he was looking at, young filmmakers to see who would want to be part of the Evil Dead, and he actually chose Lee Cronin and, almost graced him in a way to make this movie. So I'm kind of excited to see how it will come together. It seems from the information, that we're getting from Bruce Campbell, it seems that this movie isn't a continuation of Ash vs. Evil Dead or, the Army of Darkness storylines or whatnot. It's its own standalone movie, kind of similar to how they handled Evil Dead 2013, which is, it's not a reboot, it's not a remaster, but it's just its own movie in its own right, that borrows assets from the other films. So that's kind of interesting. That might be, a little bit of a breath of fresh air into the franchise. Personally, I would like to see more iterations and, growth of Ash Williams as a character, but, any Evil Dead content, I'm, happy to receive. It's also been, confirmed by Bruce Campbell that Ash Williams won't be in the movie, but, it seems that Bruce does have some involvement in the film, and I'm sure he's playing some sort of role as an executive producer or some sorts on the movie. So happy to see how that plays out, and I'm sure he'll give it some good direction. And on top of that, one of the things that people are saying now is that the movie will take place on a skyscraper. So that's kind of interesting too, because the Evil Dead has been built around the cabin in the woods type horror. So it's really interesting to see that they're taking that and putting it in to like a skyscraper, more of an urban area. So I'm kind of curious to understand the direction and, the vision that they have for that for this film. So, I guess we'll have to stick around for more information. That's all we've got at the time. But, excited for Evil Dead. Sure it'll do good, and happy to see what the team will put together.
Hail to the king, baby.
Are you an Evil Dead fan and looking forward to this movie? How do you feel about the whole transition from a cabin in the woods to a skyscraper? What do you think they're going to do with it? Let me know in the comments below. This was Jigsaw, the host of Hotline Sehwani, signing out. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing to Hotline Sehwani as we race towards 3,000 subscribers. Or else, probably turn into a Deadite. We don't want that to happen. If you want to connect with me, please do so on Twitter at Hotline Sehwani or join our Discord community. Also, please make sure to follow the Hotline Sehwani SoundCloud to listen to all of our remixes on the go. Links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I appreciate your continued support. And stick around for more gaming, horror, and remixes. And like this video if you want to see more of this type of content.